and today we have a really good press briefing prepared for you. And we have a special guest. She was not on the flyer, but she had her big day yesterday. And who is that? The first woman to be Minister of Finance, and she had her excellent budget presentation yesterday. And we asked her last night, can you come and talk about the budget a little bit more? The reviews have been so good, Minister. I know especially members of the private sector have been applauding the budget, so I want to congratulate you and thank you for being here. So if you watched last week, we had the Minister of Foreign Affairs come, and she wasn't on the program, but because of developments in the Middle East, we called her that morning. I called her and said, you need to come, and she came. Similarly, we have today Minister Williams asking her to come in because it's a topical issue. And that really is the posture of this administration, very open to speaking to the public on what we are doing, and if it is topical, we do not shy away from discussing it. And so I thank Minister Williams for being here today. And we also have, who was scheduled to be here, the Honorable Pernell Charles Jr., our Minister of Labor and Social Security, and he has a lot to say today on that historic roofs program. And we also have with us the Honorable Donovan Williams. It's so good to see you. He's State Minister in the Ministry of Labor and Social Security. It's good to have you here at the post-cabinet press briefing. And note, the press can ask you questions too. We also have Senator Marlon Morgan, our Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Skills, Youth and Information, who would have come and talked about the budget if Minister Williams didn't come. So you're going to get some budget today. We also have Mrs. Dion Jennings, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, and all the other senior technical team from the ministry, including my cousin, I call her my cousin, who is not well, but she is here. That Ministry of Labor team, they work so hard, and it's good to see you here. We also have Colonel Desmond Edwards, Director General for MOCA, the Major Organized Crime and Anti-Corruption Agency, who is here too, because there are some things we'll discuss that have implications for MOCA. Also want to welcome members of staff from all of the supporting ministries, departments, and agencies. We also have, as I always love to have in the audience, members from UTEC and the Jamaica Union of Tertiary Students, getting them ready to take on their role as leaders going forward. We also have two very special ladies this morning, and they said they prayed for us earlier. Miss Millicent Little and Miss Dorothy Williams, who are roofs beneficiaries, and you're going to be hearing from Minister Charles on that. We also have some wonderful young men here with us today, and they're from St. George's College, and they're a part of the math team. And so we have Jaheim Guthrie, Gamaliel Williams, and Joshua Clark. And their coach is also here, Miss Danielle White. And they're here because they won the maths competition, and we're in Mathematics Month, and I'll tell you a bit more about that. And so our members of the media who are here, Jamaicans watching at home and abroad, this is going to be a very good post-cabinet press briefing. And so we're going to go straight into it. Just 2 points that may have missed you this week. And on Sunday, as Minister Williams pointed out at the start of her historic budget presentation, Sunday was International Women's Day. And we're very happy to note that 120 rural women farmers have now been insured against extreme weather. So that's very important, because we have seen the impact of weather events on our farmers, and these 120 women farmers have benefited from the parametric insurance coverage to protect their livelihoods from extreme weather events. What's parametric insurance? This is where you get a payout depending on something happening. So for example, if there is rainfall above this amount, you will get a payment. So it's not just if there is rainfall, it has to reach a particular parameter. And so that is what we have been able to negotiate as government, and the support is being provided through the Roots Resilience Parametric Insurance Program, and that's facilitated under the Grace Kennedy Weather Protection Program. And so we're very happy to have been able to roll this out under the Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, the Honorable Floyd Green, who was so very happy to wear his pink tie as a part of celebrating this very important initiative. We also wanted to note that the Tourism Pension Scheme, and Minister Williams would have spoken about pension funds and made a big announcement yesterday about pension funds and one way that our pensioners can see greater returns in the future. And that was a very important announcement. And so I thought it would be good to tell you that the tourism workers pension scheme now surpasses $5 billion in savings. And this is a big deal too. Most of our tourism workers never had any insurance. And so this was something that was put in by this administration, seeded with $1 billion, and we are so very happy to see our tourism workers benefiting from it. And for those who may be outside of work right now, there's no need to worry. There is portability of the pension funds. And so we're very happy to know that we're now at $5.1 billion in savings in the tourism sector. And that dovetails so nicely with what Minister Williams would have said yesterday in terms of adjustments to pension funds. But since we have a big morning ahead of us, I could give you the other 10 that I have, but I will not. And so I'm going to move straight into the woman of the hour, the Honorable Favour Williams, who will talk a little bit about the budget and remind you of some of the key items that have come out of the budget. Please make her welcome. Welcome, Minister.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. It is a pleasure to be here this morning. Let me acknowledge colleague ministers, Dana Dixon, Minister Pernell Charles, Senator Marlon Morgan, Minister Williams as well, yes, State Minister Williams, Permanent Secretary, all the members of the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, students who are here this morning, our Jamaicans from out the West who are here. I understand you have a very important demonstration this morning. Looking forward to that. Members of the media, our students in the back, good morning to all of you. Yesterday was, I thought, a momentous occasion to present the budget for the new fiscal year to all Jamaicans and to present it in a way that made sense to them and that they could understand what it means for them going forward. So the budget that was presented for the fiscal year 2026-27, which starts on April 1 of this year and ends March 31st of next year, was a $1.4 trillion budget. I think it's the highest to date in our history. But it was a budget presented in the context of the significant Category 5 hurricane that we experienced last year, October 28th. It was presented as well in the context of a very serious war that is happening in the Middle East. And the connection there between what's happening in the Middle East and Jamaica is that the price of oil is impacted. As you know, Jamaica buys every drop of oil from abroad. And so what happens to prices on the world market impacts us here in Jamaica. And to the extent that oil prices rise, it means everything for us is more expensive. Transportation, cost of production of goods, electricity, just about everything will be impacted. So it's important for us to understand what's happening in the other parts of the world. The good news is we are positioned well in terms of our foreign exchange if we have to buy oil at a higher price. And I tried to explain in Parliament yesterday just the significance of us having robust net international reserves. It's a buffer. It's to ensure that we have foreign exchange to deal with any eventuality that happens. As a small island country situated in the hurricane zone, we have to have buffers. The Net International Reserve is one such buffer. The other hurricane-related savings or instruments that we've had are buffers that we have for the country. You saw that as a government, we were able to get up and going the very next day after the hurricane. We were out there clearing roads, taking food packages to people. I'm sure Minister Charles has never given away so many food packages in his entire life, but he did that right after Hurricane Melissa. It's not a buck-up. It's because we have prepared. We've prepared for these eventualities. Going forward, we want to be even more prepared. And so we will take steps to ensure that we continue to have these savings, these funds that we can call on, because every year we know that we go through these periods, the hurricane season. We want to make sure going forward that we have funds for reconstruction. The heavy work is still ahead of us. You know, what we've been doing in the last 4 to 5 months has been to help people in communities, in the badly torn and damaged parishes of Jamaica in the West, to ensure that they have some assistance to put their roofs back on, and you're going to hear a lot about that from Minister Charles, to ensure that they had food, that they're able to survive, to make sure their children could still go to school. A lot of spending will be happening in the education sector to rebuild schools, classrooms. But we could only do that if we prudently manage the resources that you, Jamaicans, give to us as government to manage on your behalf. So we do not take lightly the $1.4 trillion that we've announced as the budget for the upcoming year. A lot of it is going to go into the reconstruction effort for roads, for the communities that are badly torn up, and I think of Black River. We have to rebuild Black River. And that's some serious work that is going to happen. We will be in need of construction workers, a lot of them. People who are masons, right, who are roofers, who are carpenters, welders. You're going to be needed. So if you've been going to Hart to learn a skill, raise your hands, because we need you in the reconstruction effort to go on. There'll be a lot of spending done, and we want Jamaicans to benefit from that spending. We don't want to, I might be getting risky here, but we want Jamaicans to benefit from the work that's being done in this country. So this morning, let me say again, as I said yesterday, Jamaicans can be assured of this government and the work of this government to take this country forward and out of the damage of Melissa. The Planning Institute of Jamaica, that gives us the projections for GDP, has indicated that for the fiscal year, the new fiscal year, we can expect growth, positive growth. Who would have thought that right after the aftermath of the hurricane, when we looked at the devastation? But yes, we're projecting to grow between 1% to 2%. And that is a good thing, an excellent thing for Jamaica. I see someone smiling over there. Thank you. One of the other things I focused on yesterday as well was the country's credit rating. And yes, it might be a strange concept to persons, but I want to say to all of you, especially our students, the credit rating of Jamaica, which is an assessment of our credit worthiness, just like when you go to a bank and they take a look at you, if you go to get a loan and they assess you and says you're a good credit, it's much the same thing that happens to countries. You have rating agencies in the United States. Their sole job is to assess countries and give them a rating based on their credit worthiness. And Jamaica, based on where we are right now, all the three rating agencies have assessed us as stable. And, and this assessment happened after the hurricane. So for them to be at that point where they're saying stable, it's a good thing for Jamaica. And we take that seriously. I spent a lot of time in the budget in speaking about the budget, talking about the reforms in the financial sector. Why is that important? We have a financial sector that we know went through massive upheaval 20, 25 years ago. And since then, they've been extremely, extremely conservative. I'm not saying we're going to loosen the strings and for them to become aggressive in their lending practices. But we're at a point where we can ease a little bit some of the restrictions that we have on them in order to get them to put more out into the economy. And so I focused on pension funds that have billions and billions of dollars, and to say to them, you can invest a little bit more in the activities of private sector companies. There's going to be a lot of reconstruction needed, and we want funds to be there. We are still cautious, and that's why we didn't make wholesale changes. We'll see as we make these incremental changes, what are the benefits that we're deriving from those changes. So that was a big deal and marked a new milestone for us in Jamaica. So ladies and gentlemen, I hope I've given you a little bit of a synopsis, a good preview of the presentation yesterday, and I'll be available for questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Williams. If you've not seen the budget presentation, it is available on YouTube. PBCJ's page has it, I know, and I'm sure it's on other pages, so please go and watch it. And we'll be putting out today quite a number of infographics that break down the budget, and the Ministry of Finance team has worked on many of these, and we'll be putting them out today so that the budget becomes alive for every Jamaican, and you can see how it actually impacts you. So please look out for those, and thank you so much, Minister Williams, for your excellent presentation yesterday, and then for coming this morning to talk again about how historic a position we are in to weather the geopolitical issues that we face in the world. And now we have our scheduled guest, Minister Pernell Charles Jr., who he and his team have just been working non-stop. Right after the hurricane, they went into the distribution of food, manning all of those shelters around the country in terms of getting food to all of them and helping our communities that needed assistance. And then they went straight into doing all of these assessments across the country. That was not easy work. They worked through the Christmas holiday to get this done. And then, Minister Williams, it's good that you're here this morning because you said yes. I remember when the ministry team came P.S. you were presenting, and they said, look, it's a lot of people who've sustained damage, and we need funds in order to help them to recover. And Minister Williams was right on it. She wrote down the numbers, and of course, she always interrogates the numbers. Do you really need that much? Do you think it's really going to cost that, as a good finance minister does? But she made the funds available. And so, thank you, Minister Williams. Thank you, Minister Charles, and your team for working so hard. And also, I mean, of course, education got a lot of money too, so I have to thank her for that and her continued support to education. I thank her. But please welcome this morning Minister Pernell Charles Jr., our wonderful Minister of Labor and Social Security.
I start by giving thanks to the Almighty, always. And I don't know about you, but I really do think that Minister Dana Morris-Dixon is doing an amazing job. I whispered to her, you know, you really don't need us. You just need to give you the information and you continue to be the communicator that you are. Jamaica likes to hear from you, you know. You have a way of articulating. But I want to acknowledge all of the dignitaries, of course, my Minister of Finance and Public Service, who has supported the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, and who, by the look and the twinkle in her eyes, will continue to support when we get back to her for the supplemental coming up in the next couple of months. We really, really do appreciate you. What an amazing budget yesterday. Give her a round of applause. The right woman for the right time. I want to acknowledge again our Minister, Dana Morris-Dixon, and my Minister of State, who is on the ground doing hard work. He's with us wherever we go, giving support, but also he is leading in terms of many of the issues that are critical in the ministry. He'll be doing a very important audit of all of our parish offices, and he will be also taking charge of some of the instrumental areas. Perhaps you can have him at one point, Minister, come and speak to the country on some of those matters. He's a doer, you know, not a talker, but we're going to get him to talk. I want to acknowledge, of course, our Parliamentary Secretary, Senator, all of the officials, my permanent secretary, CTD, director, and all from the Ministry of Labor and Social Security. Importantly, we have some of our critical partners in this effort to protect the people of Jamaica and to provide for them, one of them being MOCA, who has been instrumental in guiding us, in being that support whenever we call. And as the Prime Minister has instructed, they are critical to the effort to investigate and
This is Make We Talk breaking news.
An item of news just in. Auditor General of Jamaica, Pamela Monroe Ellis, has launched an investigation in the Ministry of Transport multi-billion-dollar school bus scandal that is rocking Jamaica. As the Auditor General has launched an investigation in the $1.4 billion school bus scandal that is rocking Jamaica. This is Make We Talk breaking news.
response, but yes. And so we want to acknowledge WIPE, who is here and who have been instrumental in providing us with that digital solution, which is the first time that we're utilizing such a solution for these purposes. But it is to effect a greater management mechanism and to ensure that we are able to not just have the flexibility in how we manage, but to have much greater accountability in how we manage the distribution of your funds. So we also want to thank them for being here. We have a brief presentation, and we have put it in PowerPoint to make it clear to you. Oh, that's what you handed me. I thought this was a recorder. Yes, all right. So let's see if it's working. Voila. So by now, I see some students from that other college there. I'm not against Georges. I have very good friends. You see the faces a while ago? Almost coming at me. Good students from St. George's College. I still have them up, you know. I remember when we were playing Coles, and a George's student scored from half line. I'll never forget it. But always had a good football team. Now, what is roofs? There's a reason why it took us almost a week to come up with the acronym. But give thanks to our Prime Minister, and I think Minister Montague. It's the restoration of owner or occupant family shelter. And particularly, we focus on homes. So many persons ask about their farm that has been destroyed, or their business, or their shop. So this program is not the program to fix those issues. This is the program that is focused on the residence where you live. And I say that because there are many persons who have multiple homes, 4 or 5 homes, and all of them in the same place and have been destroyed. So this is the focus on the residence where you live. Anywhere else we consider commercial. So if you are renting a property, that's a different matter. That's a business matter. This is for the residence, that is your family shelter. Hence, it is the restoration of owner or occupant family shelter. Because we also know that you have persons who are in homes that they may not particularly own. They too, based on circumstances, are considered under roofs. The program provides financial assistance to eligible beneficiaries, specifically owners or occupant families whose homes have been affected by Hurricane Melissa. And it's also very important to note that these persons who are a part of the roofs program, which is one of the 6 elements of the shelter recovery program. Every time I say shelter recovery, I see my hands go up. And this is because I want to make it clear that the shelter recovery program is the umbrella program. That is the broad program. We call it the SRP, not the SLR. Does it? I see you about to. Yes, it's the SRP, right? The shelter recovery program, which has 6 elements, and the main element, the flagship element, is roofs, where we have that $10 billion allocation, and it is particularly to give those families the cash grants. Now, how does it work? It starts by having boots on the ground. And you recall hearing from our minister, Dana Morris-Dixon, that we had hundreds of persons out. I remember I was in the West, or driving to the West, and hearing her speak about the numbers and saying to myself, wow, that's a lot of people. And then I realized, oh, it's my ministry. But yes, we had hundreds of volunteers, of field officers from different ministries, from the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, persons trained by our Chief Technical Director, Audrey Dare Williams, and that's D-E-E-R, not D-E-A-R. And they were out on the ground doing the household assessments. After they do the assessment, it goes then to be verified to ensure that the information is accurate, to ensure that we can reduce the duplications, and to make sure that the persons who are to get are the persons who are on our list. Then we notify you that you're on the assessment list that has been approved. We set up whether it is for you to be brought into one of our ceremonies, or for you to receive the information straight to your phone. And thereafter, once you receive that interaction from the ministry, you go out and you collect. To date, we have concluded, I'm not seeing what you're seeing. Yeah. So to date, we have concluded over 100,000 assessments. And let me put that in context. Remember now, during Beryl, it took us about 8 to 9 months to do less than 19,000 assessments. For Melissa, with the upgraded process, the upgraded electronic gathering tool, and the lessons that we learned to improve our operation, we have completed and we met the task of 100,000 in 4 months. And so I really want to take the time to just give thanks to the team members, who were out there day after day doing that work. All right. Now, I realize that I'm seeing it here. Yes. Go back. Yes, all right. Say, P.S. is feverish. Go back. All right. So, all right. Once the assessments are done, the next step, of course, is for us to go through the list and do what we call cleaning of the list. Now, how can you clean a list, Minister? Well, let me tell you how we clean the list. We clean the list by sending that information to the National Spatial Data Management Branch, and they undertake the analysis of the list to eliminate duplication. Well, how you have duplication in a list? Well, listen, you have many persons, and I use my name, for example. What if you go to one household and Pernell Charles Jr., right, is interacting with one of the persons from the ministry, and that Pernell Charles Jr. Gets assessed for that household? They go away. 2 weeks later, Pernell Charles Sr. calls, my house don't get assessed yet. So they come back to the same house, and Pernell Charles Sr., unknown, of course, he would never know that his son was already assessed, right? He also gets assessed. That means you have 2 persons assessed for the same household. Okay? Another scenario is you might have a Pernell Charles Sr. who owns multiple houses. And so he goes from one place to the next place and gets assessed. Now, that's a no-no. Why?
This is Mecwi Talk
Because it is
Breaking
one
News.
benefit.
An item of news just in. Auditor General of Jamaica, Pamela Monroe Ellis, has launched an investigation in the Ministry of Transport multi-billion-dollar school bus scandal that is rocking Jamaica. As the Auditor General has launched an investigation in the $1.4 billion school bus scandal that is rocking Jamaica. This is Mecwi Talk Breaking News.
Now, that's a no-no. Why? Because it message with a link, and this link
This is Make We Talk Breaking News.
An item of news just in. Auditor General of Jamaica, Pamela Monroe Ellis,
Contacted.
has launched an investigation in the Ministry of Transport multi-billion-dollar school bus scandal that is rocking Jamaica. As the Auditor General has launched an investigation in the $1.4 billion school bus scandal that is rocking Jamaica. This is Make We Talk Breaking
Or
News.
a recycle bin feature. So if you go into the text message, you'll see 3 dots usually, or 3 lines. If you click that, it will show you a number of things. Sent, this, that, recently deleted, or recycle bin. Voila, you'll see your text. You press it, you restore it, you're back to original. If you don't know what to do, call your grandson or your granddaughter. They will certainly know what to do. All right, moving on. And I'm moving as quickly as possible. So again, everybody knows this by now. Minor, 75,000. Major, 200,000. Severe, 500,000. That's the grant structure. And just to move quickly, both the severe doesn't have any WhatsApp on it. What do? If you don't get the QR code, you get a text message with support. But the
a corrupt government cannot liberate the people. If the head of the stream is corrupt, the entire river will be also. I do not support corruption. Corruption takes money away from children's education. It deprives hospitals of basic necessities. It means that roads are not fixed. Corruption deepens inequality. It siphons off taxpayers' money to make a few cronies richer.
Restricted. And that is a portion that you have to now go to one of our stores. And we have a list of hardware locations, and you also receive a list with your QR code or your text message that guides you. So many people say, how am I going to know where to go? If just read the message. It's in the message. When you click, it will show you where to go. And I also know that there are a number of places where persons have said, you don't have enough locations. Well, if you look on that list now, that list has been expanding on a daily basis. We've been onboarding more persons to ensure your convenience and to make sure that you have access to as many locations as possible. Please note, it's not free for us to onboard. So we have to be very careful, and we have to be very, very clear in who we are onboarding. And those persons are also guided by the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce to make sure that they are within the regulations, tax compliant, and all of those things. So you have a few persons that have been sending me messages that have, one person actually sent a message, PS, to say that they started a hardware and they would like their hardware to be added to the list of locations. I'm a nice minister. I responded. When did you start the hardware? Yesterday. Okay. My response was, amen, full stop. I ended the conversation there. All right. So, remember, this is perhaps a good juncture for me to speak about MOCA. MOCA is our partner. And on the instructions of our Prime Minister, we have been collaborating with MOCA to make sure, one, that the funds are utilized for the appropriate means, and to make sure, two, that all things related to this entire process and connected in terms of the hardwares and other elements of the roofs program, that they are running smoothly, they are streamlined and within the law. And I leave that to MOCA. They do what they do best. We don't get involved in that. And they are also connected to the other elements of the security apparatus in our country. And so we're pretty confident that we have the right team to ensure accountability and safety and firstly protection of our people and process. Now, again, let me advise, Minister, I can feel you pulling my coattail, so I'm going to move faster. The parishes and the hardware locations will be placed on our ministry website. I will also ask Ms. Blair, who is our new PR and Comms Director, to place it on our social media, and I'll place it on my social media as well. Okay, we went through that already. Collection. As I said before, Senator Morgan would have to carry his ID. And as Ms. Suzette Morris said to me yesterday, the correct way to say it is government-issued photo ID. I was just saying driver's license. But there are many other things. So you have your voter's ID, you have your passport, you have your driver's license. You carry any one of those. All right? What do you do if you were not assessed? Well, my first instinct is to say that you should have been assessed because we did everything that we could. However, if you weren't assessed, you would have self-reported. And I want to be very clear. We put in place a system to make sure that we avoided the issues we had in burial of persons saying that we didn't come to their community, even though we know that we went to the community. Why is that? Inevitably, you're going to have situations where persons are out at work, or if the house was completely destroyed, they wouldn't be at the house, right? Correct. So we wouldn't always have a chance to intersect with all persons on all streets in all communities. So what we did was to put in place a system that if we did not see you at your home, you could self-report, you could come to the office, you could advise us, we would engage you, arrange, and come and assess. And thousands of Jamaicans did so. However, you still have persons who were not assessed and didn't self-report. So for those persons, we also created a calling card. So when we went to your house, if we didn't see you, we started the assessment and we left a card to say, call us to complete the assessment. Hundreds of persons did that. And even with all of that, you still have persons who will say, nobody came to my house. Now, what I will tell you is that when you engage those individuals in conversation, it usually extends to but one person who came in November and I haven't seen them since then. And so most of what we found is that you have persons who are just concerned as to whether they are in the process because they have not heard anything yet. I would say to you, once somebody from the ministry came, you should be okay. However, we understand your concerns and your apprehension based on the circumstances, and we have put in place a system, Minister Williams, that will allow for persons to call us and get a status update. That status update is going to alleviate your concerns, because this requires a lot of patience. We do the verification and the distribution in batches, and so everyone will not get at the same time. Okay? So that information will be placed on our website. That will give you the various mechanisms to call us. Moving on. Let me just indicate what we've done so far. So far, from the minor category, we have a value of $108 million paid out. From the major category, $2.37 billion paid out. And from the severe category, $2.74 billion. And that's money that has now been issued to our provider for them to send out to the beneficiaries. And that's a total of $5.22 billion sent to the provider from us for them to send to the beneficiaries. And not all have received yet, but we have a gift for you today. Again, please, if you're watching, go to the TV, take a picture of this. We'll also put this information on our social media. It's MLSSJA, is that it? MLSSJA. And you know mine, P. Childs Jr. We'll put it up to make sure that you have that access to that information. Now, any of your questions, you could email us, contact us at 922-8000-13. I know that there are going to be persons saying, well, I tried the ministry and I can't get the ministry. Let me tell you, we have set up a contact center at the Ministry of Labor and Social Security just to ensure that we can improve how we communicate with the public. We literally have trained persons and put them in a room and created our own BPO just because we understand that we are the ministry that has to treat with PATH and social pension and our pensioners and all of Jamaica. We're the people's ministry. So we are people-centered. So if you call us and you don't get through, then you can email us, or you can go to your parish office and you can get direct information. But it is highly likely, again, Senator, that if you speak to somebody who says that they have not gotten through to the ministry, they will say, I only got through to, what is it again? Automated. Now, the automated, once you press the right number, it will send you to one of the respective departments. All right? So you are getting through to the ministry. All right. Okay. No, I think that's the end of the, okay, good. All right, so I just want to wind down. 1 second, Minister. Minister Morris Dixon, not easy, you know. She's telling me that she's ready. She's pouncing. 1 second. I want to ask, let me make sure that I have my button here. We have it on the screen. Is it ready to go on the screen? You want to come? Come, we pay. So we want to make sure, yes. So maybe you can explain. So we have Kibre from We Pay here. So I don't know if this has ever happened at any postcard, but I want to advise you today we are going to Trelawney. That's why I'm, you know, and we are going over to Trelawney to do the same ceremony. It's the last of the severe areas for us. However, we knew that we are coming here today, and we're going to make sure that all beneficiaries for the entire funds that we have sent to We Pay, that they are satisfied. So we have a special presentation today. We'll ask We Pay to explain.
Sure. So, yeah, good morning again, everyone. So what is going to happen right now, the minister, he's going to be able to press a button. Don't press it yet, minister. He's going to be able to press this button. And all of the people across Jamaica who still haven't received their messages yet, their QR codes, their text messages, the instructions, they're going to get that instruction right now when he presses that button.
And we have 2 persons to show.
And we have 2 persons to show who should also be getting the message. So I don't know if you just count with me, you know, little dramatic effects since we don't have no drums.
This is all of the 5.2.
Correct.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to do it now. So we're going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And that's it.
Voila! I want to ask
have you got,
show me the message, please.
Perfect.
Come please, come please. And remember now, this is all of our 5.22 billion. Everyone now should have received fully.
Morning.
And we'll do the same in batches for the others to come. And I want it to be clear, this is just now coming in. And what's your name, man? Dorothy Williams? You know, I had a girlfriend named Dorothy Williams. We have to talk. All right. Now, Miss Dorothy Williams has received, yes, come, Miss Dorothy Williams has received her message from WePay, which shows you here that she is paid. Kibwe, this is the voucher?
That's the voucher. So when she taps on it, she's pull up. Let's go back. The voucher is there. I don't know where Mrs. gone. I've gone somewhere else.
I hope I didn't delete it.
We pay, so we come with the instructions. Is her phone online?
No.
Oh, it's not coming.
Oh.
Okay.
All right.
Give her Wi-Fi access and just put it for me. Yeah, my team will show you now where it goes to. Give me that Wi-Fi. Okay, great.
1 second. Sorry, Minister. 1 second.
Enabling Wi-Fi access.
I'm giving her my Wi-Fi. Anybody want to guess what my password is? You'll never guess it. Huh? What is it? Busy? No. That's from my chief technical director. No. I was about to tell you, but then I remembered. Yes.
It's online now.
Authenticating. Saved. Why is it not connecting? No.
All right, so that's it. Oh no, that's your Wi-Fi.
Mercy. All right.
Well, if it was that iPhone, I could help you.
All right.
Connected?
Connecting. There we go. All right. Go back to the message. All right. Let's see. Click this one.
Loading now.
Ah. Dorothy Williams. That's her QR code. Shows the money, the original balance, which means that she can go to the hardware and she could say to them, only use 125. They would take the 125 and then she would still have on her balance 75, which she could go elsewhere and redeem for cash or in whatever other way she wants. Isn't that, I mean, this is where Jamaica is. All right. Thank you, Miss Dorothy. What's your name? Sherissa. Oh, thank you. You're your granddaughter? Yes. Thank you. And this is what we're asking for. So we're asking for family to support family if it is that there's any need to access the technology. Thank you very much, Minister. Thank you to WePay. Thank you to all of the team members. Thank you. Oh. Sorry. 2 more minutes. I just wanted to be clear because we've been having some concerns about the security. I just wanted WePay just to explain very quickly in relation to the security for the technology.
All right, thank you guys. So, of course, these are unique QR codes that everyone gets. And of course, for those phones that aren't as smart, they get an SMS code with it as well. So what happens is the beneficiary goes to the hardware store or any participating location, which also includes our cash out locations. When the beneficiary goes there, they show their QR code. What happens then? Our machines, which are installed, point-of-sale machines, but they don't actually handle a sale, they will read the QR code. And when they read the QR code, it's going to pull up the beneficiary's information. The instructions that the cashiers at those locations have is to then take the same machine, take a photo of the beneficiary, take a photo of their ID. So immediately on the back end, the ministry and the minister is able to look on their dashboard and see that John Brown collected this amount. John Brown's photo is there. John Brown's ID is there. Those photos happen in real time. And also, from the hardware store, The cashier also has to take a photo of the receipt. And that receipt is uploaded onto the system where we have our AI system reading that receipt and sharing with the ministry also in real time what goods were purchased. So at the end of the program, we'll be able to tell how many pieces of zinc, how much pieces of block. So what you're talking about is detailed, rich data so that if something like this again happens, the ministry will be able to make quicker assessments and know what kind of energy and money that they'll need to put out. And that's how that works.
Excellent.
All right, guys?
Excellent. Excellent. All right, me again, very quickly, just to indicate, as I did yesterday with Cliff Hughes, when you receive your text message or your QR code, it is not to be put on the shelf or in your pocket for weeks. The QR code and text message will have an expiration date applied to it. So we're doing this in batches. Today we have just finalized the first 5.22 billion, that batch. All of those persons now in that 5.22 are paid. You must now move with a swiftness to go and redeem your code for material or your text message for material or for cash. Do not sit down and wait. Within the next, well, I would say within the next 3 weeks, you should try your best to do your redemption. The expiration will come, right? Will come at least within the next 3 months, but it's going to be done in batches. So you first batch, you have to go now. Thank you. Thank you, Minister.
Thank you. And we've never had that happen, Minister. We've never had any kind of demonstration like that with an individual getting funds immediately on their phone. So I really thank you for that demonstration. And also, even where there was no Wi-Fi, we figured it out and we were able to help. And so I want to thank you, Minister. I want to thank you to the team for this wonderful technology. And I want to thank Minister Williams too for facilitating all of this across the country. There's so many other families who are happy today because of that. So thank you. We are at our post-cabinet press briefing, so I'm going to quickly tell you what we discussed in cabinet this week. We spent time on the Cuba medical program, and you would have heard an update on Monday. There was a press conference on Monday on that done by Minister Tufton that was coming out of cabinet. So when we have cabinet meetings, there are consequences of it, and we discussed and approved the request that had come from Minister Tufton and the Ministry of Health and Wellness for funds to be allocated to assist in the transition, also the fast tracking of getting medical professionals from other countries around the world. So that was discussed in cabinet quite at length. The roofs program that you had the demonstration from so wonderfully from Minister Charles this morning, that was also discussed quite a bit with members of the ministry team there too. And in that discussion, MOCA did come up a lot because of some security concerns, and we are addressing them. MOCA is here this morning, so if anyone has any questions for them, you can do so. We also looked at the survey of living conditions. We went through that in a lot of detail. It gives us important, rich data that we use in terms of making policy for the country. And I'll get those results out to you so that you can also see where we are. There are positive things in there in terms of rates of poverty and so on. But we also looked at other things like the declining population that it is unearthing and what that means for policy formulation in Jamaica. We also approved some boards, including the JUTC, Airports Authority of Jamaica, Maritime Authority of Jamaica, the Cannabis Licensing Authority, and we move forward on the gazetting of the Abuka High School in St. Anne, which will be expanded. And there are other things, but I'll leave it at that for now. Before we go into the questions, I have my St. George's College young men here, and I'll ask them to come up, please. And they're very, very smart young men. Please come forward. So who you're looking at here? Come. All right, so they won the UTEC maths competition, and it is a very big competition. And they won last year too. So they're repeat champions. Their teacher doesn't want to come up, their coach doesn't want to come up with them. But there's something special that is happening on Saturday. For those of you who are geeky and nerdy like me, on Saturday is Pi Day. I don't know if you remember pi from when you were in high school. I can only do 3.1415926. That's all I can go to. But these young men are smarter. And I want one of you to talk about pi.
All right, so good morning, everyone. First, let me thank Minister Dixon for inviting us, Minister Williams, Minister Charles, and other officials. We are the 2 times champion of the UTech annual mathematics quiz competition. And today we're here to tell you a little bit about pi as well as Pi Day. Pi is the ratio of the circumference to the diameter. It is irrational. I would wish that there is a board behind me, so maybe look a little bit more intellectual than I do. But basically, to explain what irrational is, it cannot be written as a fraction. So you wouldn't be able to express certain numbers in certain type of fractions, maybe 5/9 or 6/7.
Ah. 6, 7. Anyway.
It is transcendental. Sorry, I pronounced that wrong. But it is not the solution of any polynomial equation with rational coefficients. Basically, it is the opposite of what irrational would be. Certain values for pi is 3.14, which is a casual use of mathematical calculations, your everyday use, maybe from the first form level up until the 5th form level.
3.142.
Yeah, 3.14. I will get into the later values. I hope I can remember the 15 digits that I studied.
All right.
It is also known as 22/7 for a more precise calculation, and the much more rare value, 335/113, which is much rarer, by the way. Pi appears in certain mathematical formulas, such as geometry, circumference of a circle, which is 2 pi r, area, pi r squared, volume of a cylinder, pi r squared times height, surface area of a sphere, 4 pi r squared, and the volume of a sphere, 4/3 pi r cubed. It also appears in physics. For example, angular motion, where angular frequency is equal to 2 pi times frequency, or over time / period. And now for me to recite the 15 digits for pi. Go. All right, so.
What is pi?
For the
I gave you mine. I can only go up to 6 digits.
3.141592655839793. Those are the 15 digits I can remember. There is a world record of 70,000 plus digits recognized by someone, but I am not a machine. I cannot do that.
All right, well, thank you. Please, let's give them a round of applause. Oh, you're not finished? Oh, they're not finished. Sorry.
Much more to talk about.
You have one more? Okay, go ahead, quick.
There's a lot more.
Yeah, man, just a little bit more. Very
right.
quickly.
So, Larry Shaw started Pi Day in 1988 at the San Francisco Exploratorium Science Museum. But later, it was fully recognized as Pi Day in March of 2009.
All right.
By the US Congress. Coincidentally, by the way, it's also the same date as a famous scientist, which would be Albert Einstein. I may not be born on March, but I'm certainly born on the 14th of another month, so take that with a grain of salt, or whatever information as you will. And, my other classmate here will talk about the ancient discovery of pi.
This is the last one.
So pi was discovered in like ancient Babylonians time, where they didn't fully discover it, but they used a value of 3.125. Later down, the father of mathematics, Archimedes, actually came in with a more precise measurement using a 96-sided polygon that he first put inside a circle and then outside a circle. And by finding the area of both 96-sided polygons, he was able to determine that the value of pi would fall in between the values of 3.1408 and 3.1429. Not the exact value, but very close to it. So we have Archimedes to thank for a good bit of mathematics, as he's known as the father of it.
Thank you. Now, their teacher didn't come up. Oh, you have something to say? Everybody has to say something.
So good morning again. So as we know, Pi Day is this Saturday. So Pi represents 3.14. So it's the third month of the year and the 14th day. So this is March 14th. And on these days, schools will normally have eating pie contests, pie memorization contests.
Yes.
You will normally wear polka dots
Yes.
with the circles, math competitions, and pie baking competitions. Yeah, so that is it.
Thank you. Are they not amazing? Look, there is really there are good things in our education system. And these young men epitomize that. Don't leave yet. They epitomize that. And our goal in the Ministry of Education and the government is really to ensure that we unearth more of this. I had a lovely time talking to them last year when they won, and this year again, and they're from humble backgrounds. And they've done excellent, and their teachers done an excellent job coaching them. And if we're going to reach the potential we know Jamaica can reach, we have to get more of our students looking like this, and that's our commitment. And so on Friday, across the schools, we are going to celebrate Pi Day because it is on Saturday. We will wear some polka dot on Friday, but we'll also be doing some other things across the ministry. We are going to be having the Mathematics Hat and Tie Day on March 13, and across all our regions, we'll be showcasing concepts like algebra, geometry, measurement, numbers, statistics, and probability through creative design. So we're trying to make mathematics come alive. But these young men, you've made me so happy this morning. And I'm looking forward to Pi Day. I'm one of those who celebrates Pi Day. And so thank you, gentlemen, for being here this morning and telling Jamaica about Pi. Thank you. And media, you can ask them questions too. So now we're open to questions from the media. You can ask about Pi, you can ask about the budget, and you can ask about roofs.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Mahiri Stewart, Nationwide News here. My first question would be for Minister Charles. I'll ask you what Pi is, don't worry.
Yeah, ask him how much you can go with Pi.
So, not too long ago, I remember the Prime Minister saying that penalties would be imposed on persons who did not use the housing grants for their intended purpose. My question is, how?
How the penalties will be imposed?
Correct.
So we leave that to the members of the security apparatus for the country. They are the ones who have that responsibility. We're focused on our operation. We collaborate with them. We provide them with the information. They investigate, detect, and they will take care of that. So they utilize the legislation as needed, and it depends on the circumstances. So depending on whatever the matter is, MOCA or one of the partners will address it based on what the legislation provides as the guidelines to address the matter.
Okay, MOCA can speak to you outside after, yeah.
You don't want MOCA to speak to you outside after. I would.
And my second question would be, in terms of, I know there are assessments that take place before the grants are given to determine where persons fall, but in terms of, will there be further assessments in order to check on how far the rebuilding has taken place?
Excellent question, yes. So our social workers and the parish office teams, inspectors, clerks, all of them are out. And insofar as possible and practical, we're trying to make sure that we do those post-coverage observations and assessments that would allow for us to confirm that you move from redemption to restoration. Now, you can't do every single one, but a sampling is utilized, and they do have their formula in terms of ensuring that community by community We also provide best practices, guidelines in terms of hurricane shutters and other things, while also ensuring that the materials are being used for the right purpose.
Right, and I guess question could technically go for both of you. I know that Minister Morris Dixon not too long ago announced a bridge initiative with Heart for young persons to be incorporated into this rebuilding process, whether it be houses or just any buildings in the West that need assistance. Can I just get an update on how that initiative is going?
Sure, that's going actually very well. They're mainly working with the JDF, so you know that the JDF is doing some of the restoration of houses. And so they've been assigned to the JDF team. They are learning on the job and learning discipline at the same time, which is even more beautiful. And we have some of our partners, global partners, so we know Guyana and some of our African brothers and sisters have sent their troops here, and so Heart is working with them and giving students to them to assist Jamaicans who couldn't do it on their own. And you can imagine there are a lot of our older Jamaicans who may live on their own who can't do it, and so the JDF's work and the work of the Heart student is really beautiful in those instances.
All right, thank you. My last two questions would be for Minister Williams. So the first one would be, yesterday during her budget presentation, she did say that investment ratings or the investment gradings that Jamaica is getting is equivalent to our gold and our oil. And I know that she spoke about Moody's, Standard & Poor's, and Fitch as three agencies that have given Jamaica good ratings. But my question is, in terms of getting to investment grade status, how far away are we from that? What needs to be done to reach that? And how important will investment grade status be in a post-Melissa Jamaica?
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the question. Yes, as you said, there are 3 rating agencies, and right now where we are positioned as a country, we are just a little bit under investment grade. It's going to require us having more robust and consistent GDP growth to vault us over into investment grade. So that is what we have to work on now. They have seen us in terms of our performance over the last several years, and it has been particularly good for them to see us managing disasters and to see how we emerge from that. And it's that performance in the past that has given them the confidence to still continue to rate us where they've rated us. So I wanted to impress on all of us, on Jamaicans, how important our credit rating is in the global world, and that locally at home we should take it serious. And we should work towards improving that credit rating, because it means if we have to borrow, we get it at a much lower rate. It means a lot of things when investors are looking for where to invest. It gives them a sense of what the environment is in Jamaica. How seriously do we take our affairs in Jamaica? So it's important. It's our oil. It's our gold.
Right, and my last question would be concerning the net international reserves. We're at 6.8 billion USD, correct? Now, we've seen analysts since the budget was presented saying that maybe we don't need to continue funding the NIR and instead use that money to fund projects. What are your thoughts on comments like that?
Well, I want to say, when you think about the NIR, don't think about it as you think about a savings account. Think about it as a current account, a checking account, because there are inflows and outflows out of the NIR. When you go online and shop, you have to pay for it in US dollars. Where do you think those US dollars come from, right? When remittance comes to the country, it gets recorded in our net international reserves. When tourists spend US dollars, wherever they spend it in Jamaica, if they go to a cambio and change that US dollars, it has to be remitted to the Bank of Jamaica. So it's a flow when you think about the NIR. And to the extent that you get to the end of the year and you have a positive that adds to the NIR, we have to keep it strong. We have just recently seen the escalation in oil prices. we don't generate a drop of oil here in Jamaica. We have to buy it, and that means we have to have ready US dollars in order to do that. And so I hear the arguments about it, but I think there needs to be further engagement of persons to help them understand why it's there, why it's useful, and why we should keep making it strong. You know, if we go through a disaster, we'd have to spend some of it if we have to buy a whole bunch of stuff from abroad. So it has to be there, ready, and waiting. Yep.
Thank you so much, Minister. This question is directed for you. The name is Lyndon Taylor. I'm a freelance journalist based in New York. And there are two questions. One is policy focused. The Jamaican diaspora contributes billions in remittances and investment each year. What specific policies in this budget are designed to better engage the diaspora to create opportunities for them to invest directly in Jamaica's development?
Great question. We have, over the last several years, done a lot through our foreign ministry to engage with our diaspora. There are conferences, I think now it's every 2 years. Of this, and one's coming up. One's coming up. Yeah, one's coming up. We recognize the significant power and importance of the diaspora. I am sure everybody in Jamaica, every family in Jamaica has someone in the diaspora that they are in touch with, that provide for them in one way, shape, or form. This government takes our diaspora very serious. And so I know for sure that we'll continue to strengthen those ties with them in terms of providing them information, providing them a forum to engage in Jamaica. There are no barriers for our diaspora to engage. And so I say that we will continue to do all that we can to ensure that our diaspora feel as if they are respected and honored for the contribution that they continue to make from distant shores for Jamaica.
Minister, I just wanted to add something on that, but just to make a plug. Next week, Thursday, the Prime Minister will be speaking, and in his presentation, he'll be outlining a lot of the vision for the future, and especially the rebuilding of Jamaica. And the diaspora is a very important constituent in rebuilding Jamaica. There'll be a lot of opportunities. And so what I say to the diaspora is listen out for next week, Thursday's presentation from the Prime Minister. There'll be lots in there for them.
Thank you so much. So my final question, many members of the diaspora, they want to invest, but they continue to face challenges navigating the systems and the regulations. How does this budget make it easier for the diaspora investors to participate in key sectors like housing, infrastructure, and entrepreneurship?
Well, I know with housing, it's very easy to participate in that. We have a housing entity, the National Housing Trust, that has several programs for persons who are looking to invest in housing. And they're the entity. Anybody who comes to me wanting to invest serious money in housing, I direct them to the National Housing Trust because of the programs that they have there, that you can come with. If you have land, talk to them. If you don't have land, but you have monies to invest, they are ready and able to do that. So there are opportunities. Again, the housing is a clear one, that if our diaspora wants to invest in housing in Jamaica, I would say come on down, speak with the National Housing Trust. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I am Janelle Gordon, the President's Advisor of the UTEC Students Union Council. Now, my question is to both Minister Dixon and Minister Williams.
Okay.
Given the current or the increasing operational costs associated with tertiary institutions, should the University of Technology Jamaica expect an increase in its subvention from the government? If not, what's the ministry's rationale for maintaining the current funding level.
All right, thank you, Minister. Minister will talk about all of the wonderful things she did last year in the budget, too.
UTech in particular has had my focus from the Ministry of Education days. And if you speak to the principal, he will tell you that we have done a lot to sort out the salaries, the compensation of staff, teachers there at UTech. We continue to provide for UTech, and this coming fiscal year, there is an increase in their subvention. I'm not going to say it's a mountain, but there is an increase. I want to just say, though, to students who are there, I want to encourage students, not just at UTech, but in all of our tertiary, to just take advantage of the student loan to fund your education. We are making it easier. We are making it cheaper for you. We're making it so that when you leave, you graduate, the repayment won't be a burden to you. It's the way that government has provided financing for your education so that you can go through school hassle-free. You don't have to be worried, where am I going to get dinner from, or, we're providing for it, and we'll make it better as we go along. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? All right, that's it in terms of the questions this morning. And we have our young people here. And at the end, I always tell you what you leave here with when you go home. And your parents ask you what they talked about at post-cab. And for the guests who don't usually come, and you have to go tell them, you're going to tell them there was a $1.4 trillion budget announced by Minister Williams yesterday. And it was historic. And that even with all of the geopolitical issues going on around the world, including the increases in oil prices, your government has done an excellent job in building buffers. And some of these buffers include our net international reserves, and it also includes insurance policies and savings. Remember, Minister, last year talked about not partying with the rent money? That's what that's about. When you put down have these buffers and you put down money. And also, we're really allocating a lot of funds for reconstruction. You would have heard about what we're doing in the Ministry of Labor, but there's also work being done across agriculture where we're supporting people in the agricultural sector. We're also rebuilding schools. A lot of money has come from the budget this year to rebuild our schools in the West. We thank Minister Williams for that. And also we're looking at small businesses, helping them and providing more support there. On the roofs program, you're going to go home and said, we are so sophisticated, you now get your notification on your benefits through your phone, and we're using QR codes to do it, and we saw it live here today. And where there are people who are thinking about committing a crime or becoming a scammer in relation to this, remind them that MOCA was here and MOCA is watching them. In addition to that, the Ministry of Labor, if you need more, if you want to know where the hardwares are, it's on their website. It will be on the minister's social media pages and the ministry social media pages too, and they've been expanding that list of hardwares that you can use. And on the hardwares, you're going to tell people that this government was intent on the funds being used for what they are meant to be. So when Minister Williams gave the $10 billion, it needed to be used to fix people's houses. And that's why you have to use it at the hardware. That's again providing our people with confidence that your taxpayer dollars are being used appropriately. And we're very happy to have heard all that has been done and that this work continues. And if you haven't gotten your text message yet, they're verifying things, you're going to get it. And so don't worry. And you can also call in if you have any concerns. And lastly, you saw the best of Jamaica in terms of our education system. You saw our beautiful students from St. George's College who won the last UTech mathematics competition. And we want to congratulate them again and remind Jamaica there is excellence everywhere and that we need to celebrate them. And this government is going to continue to support our students so that we see more brilliance like what we saw this morning. And so Saturday on Pi Day, when it comes up, you'll remember at least 3.142. You can go to that part and you'll remember that these wonderful young men came and showed that we have a bright future ahead of us. And as we close out, I thank you for joining us this week, and we look forward to another post-cabinet press briefing next week. And we always end by asking God to bless this wonderful country that we have and that we love so much. Thank you all. We're done.
When the game gets rough and this life just seems so tough, make we talk, my people, make we talk. When this town becomes an ugly place, don't let it erase the smile from your face. Make we talk, people, make we talk. Conversation is the key, a guiding light for you and me. Spark a talk and you will see. Conflict solver A to Z. World leaders master the art of self-defense just by talk. So people, make we talk. Hey, we're living in a world that on ourselves we must depend. Make we talk.